Racing heroes, they're jumping heroes. Mr. Morose is the first to go in this bonus sprint Bula hurdle. From Ola Loire on the inside of Mr. Percy, towards the left in the beige jacket, and then Geos as they approach the first of 8 flights. Mr. Morose over first, Ola Loire, and Mr. Percy. And a slight mistake by You'll Never Walk Alone at the first flight. Of course, the left of frame, pulling hard the Irish horse in these early stages as they make the long run towards flight number 2. Mr. Morose in the green and white scarred jacket from Ola Loire. And then Mr. Percy, Geos just in behind him. Hitman is tucked away on the inside. The striped jacket, also white-faced Barton, followed by Seaboard in all white, and You'll Never Walk Alone in the JP Istobrat jacket in last place. Down towards the second then, with a circuit to go, and it's Mr. Morose who pops over first from the champion hurdle runner-up Ola Loire on the inside of Mr. Percy, second and third. Barton improves out wide then from Geos and Hitman next. The last 2 remain Seaboard and You'll Never Walk Alone, about 8 lengths off the pace, which is still being set by Mr. Morose as they make their way into the back straight. 3 flights of hurdles on the next part of the course, and as they run downhill towards flight number 3, it's Mr. Morose that continues to cut out the pace from Mr. Percy. Ola Loire in a good position in third place on the inside, having his first run for James Fanshawe today. Barton, recent winner of the Fighting Fifth, through for 4th on the outside, past festival winner of course. Then Geos in the blue cap, Seaboard from Hitman, and You'll Never Walk Alone just shielded, racing out wide, still held up in last place. At the net, Mr. Morose was stoked up going into that flight. Carlo Elling got a good jump from the old fellow, from Mr. Percy on his outside. Then Ola Loire and Barton as they jump the next, which comes up pretty quickly. Geos fiddled it a bit, Seaboard, You'll Never Walk Alone, and Hitman, and now they're beginning to run uphill and approaching the 6th flight of hurdles after a left-hand turn. And it's Mr. Morose with Mr. Percy about a neck away in second place. And then following these Ola Loire towards the inside of Barton. And then Geos and Seaboard out wide as they approach the flight going uphill. Mr. Percy just takes over going into this one. You'll Never Walk Alone was the last to land, but still no more than 6 or 7 lengths off the pace as they bunch up at the highest point of the course. You'll Never Walk Alone going off the 13-8 favourite for this bonus sprint Bula hurdle. They swing left-handed then at the top of the hill now, and they've got only 2 more left to jump, but they're still a good way from the finish. And it's Mr. Morose on the inside, hard ridden, with Mr. Percy going well in the hands of Philip Hyde. Queuing up in behind them, the striped colours of Barton, colours of Stan Clark, with Tony Dobbin aboard. Hitman has made progress up the inside, and these are followed by You'll Never Walk Alone. Seaboard is right there towards the left in the white jacket, and Ola Loire has just lost his position as they run down over 2 out, at which Mr. Percy was the first to land, but Barton is beginning to look dangerous. Hitman coming with a run, then Geos and Seaboard. Both You'll Never Walk Alone and Ola Loire are disputing last place at the moment. You'll Never Walk Alone has gone out very quickly indeed as they start the long run towards the final flight in quite an open-looking race. Mr. Percy in front, Barton on the outside, over on the inside, Hitman and Geos coming through strongly, and these are chased by Seaboard, then Mr. Morose, You'll Never Walk Alone, and Ola Loire down towards the final flight then in this Bula hurdle, and Geos has taken over from Mr. Percy. Barton not making much further impression on the near side at the moment, and then Hitman, and it's Geos who'll jump the last in front, and a great jump there, 3 lengths to Mr. Percy, and Barton scratching it out for second money, and then back in fourth is Hitman, who's run a good race, but in the climb to the line it's Geos, and Mick Fitzgerald, a treble for him today, and going for the line, Geos, a surprise winner of the Bula hurdle. Barton just got second ahead of Mr. Percy, then Hitman in fourth. Mr. Morose was staying on again in fifth, followed by Seaboard, and Ola Loire and You'll Never Walk Alone have both been pulled up before jumping the last flight. Dismal performances by them, but not by this horse. Geos, the 14-1 winner in the colours of Thurlow Finsbury. Nicky Henderson, the trainer, earlier successful with Dust Jewel, and a great day here at Cheltenham for Mick Fitzgerald, who won earlier on Mr. Banjo and on Dust Jewel, and has now had his treble, and a rather surprising treble too, with this Geos, who was certainly not one of the fancied runners here. Winner of the Tote Gold Trophy last season at Newbury.